Welcome to our video AMA with Nick Loeb and me, Monty Metzger. I'm excited to welcome you here on our almost live interview today. Nick, everybody knows me, like I'm speaking here to our LTX community. They know LTX is an innovator located in Liechtenstein. We are revolutionizing the space with tokenization of interesting assets. And I'm a strong believer that movie tokenization and tokenization of entertainment assets is so exciting because it's the first time that the audience can invest into a Hollywood movie directly and become part, almost like a co-producer. Can you explain, before we dive into that, can you explain what is the movie about and how did you start producing it, and tell us about the status of the movie, like is it ready?
Sure, yeah. So the movie stars Jon Voight and a whole slew of other famous Hollywood actors. It's about the most famous and most controversial court case in U.S. and American history, and it deals with the subject matter of abortion and the controversy that's gone into this. We shot the film a little over a year ago. We've wrapped up. We're looking to release the movie in February, March. And we're super excited to be here creating a token so people can get involved in the release of the film.
Exciting. And what I had been fascinating about Roe v. Wade in general, it is a highly controversial topic, but it's also very passionate. There are people who had been supporting the movie right from the beginning. You did a crowdfunding campaign at start. You have a tremendous co-producing team around. What drove you personally to keep going with the movie until the current state, and what will be the next step in when will it be released?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that I was very surprised. I've been in the film business for 20 years, and I was very surprised, Monty, that no one's ever made a movie really about this court case. I mean, there was a small TV movie made years ago, but no one went out and really made a Hollywood theatrical film about all the aspects of the court case, especially being so controversial and so famous in the United States. I mean, there should have been multiple movies made about this. And so I found it fascinating, has a lot of twists and turns, very sort of similar to Oliver Stone's movie JFK, in terms of a big conspiracy behind all of it. And I'm, personally very passionate about the issue, and I care very much. I'm also very involved in politics, and I think it's in America specifically, it's extremely polarizing issue that is talked about in every campaign, from the president down to U.S. senators and congressmen. We're finished the movie. We're ready to release it. It was an exciting process. I think it was challenging to get made because of the controversial aspect of the topic, but we had a lot of passionate people get behind this. I mean, we had, when we crowdfunded, I think, although the dollar amounts were small, we had thousands and thousands of people write checks and support and get behind our movie. We've had leaders across the community get behind it. And we've had a tremendous amount of press. We've had articles and everything from the Washington Post to Vanity Fair to Newsweek. And I think all of this has really happened because I think we were brave enough to go and attack this subject matter. And we're super excited to release it in a couple months now.
But you didn't do it alone. There had been other co-producers behind. So I know Troy and Alveda, I mean, they had been producing other movies. Can you tell about their past success?
Yeah, so Troy Duhan produced a movie called God's Not Dead, which was extremely so successful in the U.S. that they ended up became a franchise. They made a God's Not Dead 1, a God's Not Dead 2, A God's Not Dead 3. And Troy came on as executive producer after he read the script, saw who was involved. I think he was always looking to get involved in a movie specifically about this, but he just never found the right one. And I think when we connected, and he read the script and saw who was involved, I think he thought it was the right one. He came on board as one of our EPs. Also, Dr. Alveda King, who is well known. Her uncle is the famous Martin Luther King. So Alveda's been involved really in the pro-life community. She's been involved as a producer on documentaries and PSAs, and tremendously influential in this movement. And I think being the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King has driven her to want to protect African-American lives. And she feels that this is one of the avenues where she can really have an impact and influence doing it. And because probably people aren't aware that abortion is the #1 killer of African-Americans in our country. And so that's why she's so passionate and bold about this project.
Exciting. And you also didn't do it in a documentary style, but it's a feature movie. And with that feature movie, like what our community had been asking all the time is, you already got some fundraising, you produced a movie, it's actually ready. So why do you need extra capital now? And so what will the fundraise be used for?
Sure. So, raising money for a movie, there's multiple different stages of the film. Even when the film is done, we have to release the film. And so, we have to get the film, we have to bring the film to the theater. So let's say we released it in, let's say just 1,000 theaters, we have to make a digital print, and we have to not only make it and pay for the cost of that, and then we also have to pay for the shipping to each theater. And that's imagine the cost of, having to FedEx 1,000, items that are protected and then manufacture each one. And then not until I do that item, we have to send posters and marketing material, all to 1,000 locations. And so, if you break that down to about, $10,000 per location between manufacturing the item and all of that, you're looking at $1 million. And so, well, probably a lot more than that. But anyway, and so, also we have to then we have to let people know the movie's in the theater and when it's playing and where it is locally. So, we have to pay for money for billboards and signs and commercials and, basic advertising, no different than, if your McDonald's has to go out and say, hey, we've got a new Big Mac, come buy it, right? So we've got to say, hey, we've got a new movie out, come see it. And whether we release this theatrically or whether we release it on iTunes or Netflix or cable or Sky TV, or Movie Star, or Ray or whatever cable station, we still have to go out there and, run an ad and say, a trailer and show the trailers, and showing trailers costs money.
Absolutely. And I think so that's, if you look at the value chain of creating a movie, that's an important part, but something essential to make the movie successful and distribute it to like digitally and physically to cinema. So it's an exciting and important part of it. But when we look at what we create now with the RVW token, and as like RVW Limited, who is the issuer of the token, will release as an investment form, it's interesting because it's what you said, the last money in, first money out. So it's backed by the sales. Can you explain a little bit about the structure of the token and the investment?
Yes, the movie business is very complicated in a lot of ways, but in a lot of other ways, it's very similar to any other investment or even consumer product business. Touching your point earlier, no different than any other consumer product out there, we have to spend money on advertising. No different than any other company or investment out there today. The last investor is the first money out. So last money in is first money out. So raising marketing dollars in a movie is the last money that comes in to the film. and essentially it's the first money out. No different than anybody raising money for any other venture capital, private equity deal. Normally, they are always last money in and first money out. That's the benefit of investing last, I guess, is having the security that your money will be out first. Now, you're not going to get because you didn't take the risk in investing in the very beginning. You won't get the equity involved, so you probably may not get the upside, but you'll get a much more of the security. So the upside is not as big, but it's a lot more secure than someone who invested in the beginning of the movie, which is the equity side.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's besides the investment, I think it's really interesting that you will create a community who will own the token and who will feel part of it and part of the success. They will share it, they will feel with it, and also kind of the upcoming community updates and everything there. I think that's really revolutionizing how Hollywood could make movies in the future, engaging with the audience during production already, and not just at the end, like this is our product, here you can watch it or not, but you're revolutionizing.
If they buy enough tokens, they'll actually be producers on the movie and get producing credits.
Yeah, exciting. I think we didn't announce the threshold around that, but talk to us, like if there's somebody who wants to invest a little bit more, I think that's really something we can put up, and I think which Nick could enable. Great idea. But even if it's smaller amounts, I think you're part of the story, and that's super exciting. That's what we want to enable with our tokenization platform, and you as the entertainment expert and movie producer here is brave enough to do. So I really have to say congrats and thank you for enabling this. And we will make history, I think, like showing how entertainment business can evolve. But last but not least, like how can people get involved? How can they subscribe to it? What are the steps?
Well, I think they've got to go to the website, right? I mean, RVW.com. I mean, I think, we partner with LCX, who's sort of the leader now. And I think the innovator in doing a crypto raise for film and tokenizing the ability to get involved in the film business. So I think, Monty, it's better if you answer that question than I do, right? Since you guys are partnering with you guys, I'm just the Hollywood guy. You're the crypto facilitator here.
Exactly. So we set up an investor and purchasing portal at sale.rvw.com where we do the investor identification. There are some limitations. So for Europeans, it starts with $1,000 minimum investment, and then in the US, it's 10,000, and an additional accredited investor form you have to sign. But it's a very sleek and simple onboarding process. Once you're there, people can deposit BTC and ETH or Bitcoin, Ethereum, and buy the RVW token. And sale starts tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, I think this is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be an incredible way for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency holders to really diversify out of Bitcoin. And it's a massive opportunity. I mean, no one's made a movie on the most famous court case in American history. And no matter what side of the topic that you stand on, whether you are for or against, I don't think it really matters. We have investors already, equity investors, that are for abortion. We have equity investors that are against abortion. People who are doing it for the beliefs, people who are doing it for the money. At the end of the day, whether you love us or you hate us, people are going to see us. This is going to make a ton of money. And so I think it's very lucky for any of I feel bad for people who are not really involved in Bitcoin, because like most Americans, I don't know anyone who has Bitcoin. They're not going to be able to really get in on this deal. While everybody that, in your Bitcoin community is going to have that ability to get in on this deal is could be huge.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's a good wrap up. You're summarizing the key points. And I know you're super busy. I'm excited that we could get you on camera here personally. And let's get started with it.
Thank you, Monty. Appreciate your time.
Perfect, Nick. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.